AI connected universe.
80 to 90% of the tasks are actually being conducted by machines and not humans.
When we talk about autonomy, it means everything is running on its own. Systems make their decisions on their own.
First of all, we have made AI this devil. And the reason for that is that devil was supposed to take our jobs away.
We are headed into an autonomous world. There's no question about it.
What exactly is edge AI?
At the location of decision making, the intelligence needs to be there.
Hello friends, welcome back to B Cubed, Breaking Boundaries with Sabir Bhatia. And this time we are going to break quite a boundary. And that is to do with AI-enabled infrastructure. For this, we have a very special guest, a bright young spark, an entrepreneur, Tushar Chhabra. Welcome, Tushar.
Thank you
to
so
the
much,
show.
Ramai.
Tushar is the CEO and founder of Cron AI. He is quite a young visionary himself and on a mission to revolutionize the future of autonomy. He'll explain to you later what autonomy is all about. His journey began at a very prominent technology institution in India, where his passion for innovation, actual innovation, first took flight. From pioneering self-balancing drones to his pivotal role in Google's billion-user project, all of it. Tushar's career has been defined by a trailblazing series of ventures which are at the intersection of technology and human experience. So my first question to you, Tushar, today is, we are going to really now delve into a very exciting area that you have to speak about, which is the AI connected universe. You know, the whole infrastructure, everything, the human ambit, all AI connected. What is this? How would you define?
So before we even go into autonomy, let's understand where we are today, where the human race is today. 80 to 90% of the tasks are actually being conducted by machines and not humans. We need human intervention where humans have the ability to understand the world around them, understand the context of what is happening, and put an input into the machine for it to do the task for you. So autonomy is the position where AI is able to replace humans from this minuscule task of perceiving, understanding the world around it, and have the context on its own and remove the human from the loop for pressing that button and actually take decisions on its own. So autonomy is a place where we replace the human from this task and the machines are able to use or leverage AI to understand the universe around it and take better decisions.
How would you kind of delve deeper into this? Sabir, what is your concept? I mean, what is this AI-enabled universe?
So, when we talk about autonomy, it means everything is running on its own. You know, there's no human input. We're not controlling anything. Systems make their decisions on their own. I think what Tushar is referring to is making intelligent infrastructure so that the infrastructure makes decisions on its own, whether it is a smart traffic light signal or a smart building that shuts itself off when there are no inhabitants in that building, or turns on the temperature based upon human movement into that building, or it's a smart retail store that can control the temperature, count the traffic that goes in and out. So autonomous means machines are running on their own and less of human involvement in their day-to-day kind of functioning.
Very well. Give us some other examples of how this is deployed.
Sure. In fact, I would like to take two real-world examples. We lose hundreds of people, hundreds of pedestrians across the world because of infrastructure which has zero intelligence. Intelligence is either on the car and the driver itself, or it is completely dependent on a traffic signal which is working on a timer, which has been there for decades. But now suddenly take a contextual change the whole universe, where the universe we live in, the intersection we are talking about, can be like a human being. can have the intelligence of a 5-year-old child. It can understand there's a pedestrian coming from one side, a truck at a high speed coming from the other, and a vehicle coming from the other. Now it changes the traffic signal to ask the pedestrian to stop, let the truck pass by, and inform the vehicle that there's a human being coming across. This is the truly connected, autonomous universe that we talk about.
So yeah, I think this is very interesting. So up until now, we've been interacting with a universe that is by and large static and uninformed, if you will, because we consider an object is an object, a mug is a mug, a physical space is nothing but bricks and cement. But now what you're talking about is, what if the universe that we are interacting with is not just an inanimate object, but it is an object with intelligence, that it is also listening to us and providing its input. Now that, if the whole infrastructure becomes intelligent, then you're right. Not only are we thinking about our own safety and loss of life and better quality of life, but the infrastructure is thinking along with us to help prevent those mistakes that humans might make, or the interaction of humans with other humans inevitably happens. I mean, most things like accidents happen because they're accidents. One car does not see another car, but if the infrastructure could see both cars and warn both cars, there is a possible it would make for a safer place. Is that am I
You're actually right on the spot here. I think a very important thing that we forget or we miss out on, that intelligence today is distributed, and intelligence today is unique to each individual object, and that is where the problem starts. Now let's take an example, right? You have cars with their own intelligence, you have a traffic signal with its own limited intelligence, you have a pedestrian who is a human being with its own intelligence, and all of these in an interactive world or in a real world need to interact with each other. And the dynamics around them of the universe, everything is changing from every location, from a cross junction in New Delhi to one in Meerut. The whole universe around them is changing. So you need a consistent platform instead of relying on each individual object for its intelligence. You have a singular intelligence, or as they call it, singularity of AI, where you have intelligence right in the infrastructure itself, where it is constant, consistent, and it can take better decisions for everybody. And that could be replicated to, let's say, your home, where already your Wi-Fi, your television, at these days, your autonomous robot at home cleaning your house, your autonomous dosa maker, your air conditioning, all of them have some level of AI, right? People try to complicate AI in many ways, but even your air conditioning today has artificial intelligence, where it is understanding where you are, it is trying to do multiple things. So is your television. Now imagine a universe where your home itself was intelligent enough. It was central intelligence which would instruct all of these different gadgets, all of these different items in the universe on taking decisions. That is what I consider true autonomy.
No, what exactly is edge AI?
Sure. So Javed, let's talk or understand that we have started using the word cloud way too much. And we have forgotten that cloud, which was much more cost effective maybe a decade ago, first of all, is not as cost effective anymore. Two, it comes with inherent flaws. Number one of them being reliability, where there could be a loss of network at any given point of time. Second thing which comes into play is that when you're sending something to the cloud, there's inherent, whatever communication speeds you receive, there's inherent possibility of some level of delays. And if you want to achieve AI and autonomy in real sense, it has to be real time. 1 millisecond is a long enough delay, right? It's a big delay. Intelligence has to be on the edge. What I mean by that is, at the location of decision making, the intelligence needs to be there. And edge AI is nothing but all the intelligence or key decision making capabilities at the location itself. Clouds is where the training, learning, or the data which is being processed on the edge can go to. But edge AI is a critical part of the future that we are heading towards, because that is where the decisions will be taken.
So help me understand and help our viewers understand today in a smart car, say a Tesla or a Mercedes Benz that has a certain level of level 2 or level 3 or level 4 autonomy, are the decisions being made locally with data that has been trained on the cloud, or is the cloud also playing a part in the decision making of these autonomous vehicles?
So I would say there's a fusion when you talk about autonomous cars, because you cannot compute so much on the edge, where they have large maps, etc., 3D maps, which do require regular connections with the cloud, which are telling them how the 3D maps are moving. But all the key decision making, which is the perception of the car, the decision making, is actually happening on the edge. And I would also like to, when you mention these companies, also like to mention there's a lot of innovation happening in India. And I love to talk about it when we say autonomous cars, where we have companies in India and coming from cities like Bhopal, where they are working on understanding and doing autonomous driving in complex Indian environments on 100% on the edge itself. So I would like to say that the Indian ecosystem has realized, because we have much more connectivity problems than the Western world, where people are doing more development now to do more on the edge itself.
Yeah, India is always a very complicated, use case, because the systems are not, in things don't move in an organized fashion over here. Unlike in the US, there are regular stop signs, there are ways of entering a freeway, exiting a freeway, freeways. Here it's like a free for all. People find some space and they go. To make an intelligent vehicle operating in India is nothing short of a miracle. So it's fantastic to hear that a company is actually trying to solve this completely on the edge with almost zero connectivity.
Absolutely. I think the Indian ecosystem is evolving very quickly. And something we've been talking about, and this is a very critical thing, that for AI to be the most effective in the world, the best data sets are going to come from India. And why? Look at a cross junction in India. Every complicated scenario that you could never even simulate actually happens on a cross junction in India. The data sets that India provides, training on those is a completely different experience and can revolutionize how the universe looks at things.
Yeah. In fact, I had a personal experience with an autonomous car in San Francisco just last week. And I just got out of the baseball stadium, watching a baseball game, and all the crowd was coming out. And I saw this Waymo car with a couple of passengers and no driver. And it just stopped, and we were passing as pedestrians, and I wasn't sure if I should step in front of the car or not, but thankfully I was able to cross the road without the car, overrunning me. But that was a phenomenal use case where, thousands of, spectators were just exiting the stadium, and at the same time, this self-driving autonomous taxi was trying to navigate through the crowd.
Absolutely. I think, Javed, the very interesting thing I would like to bring up here is locations like stadiums. When we talk about infrastructure, autonomous connected universe, a very good example, in fact, we brought up here. He had to be worried about an autonomous car. Why? Because that autonomous car was taking all the decisions. And you cannot always trust that one person or one machine taking all the decisions. Answering a question you asked me a while back, imagine that infrastructure of the stadium had human-like intelligence. And that is what I am talking about when I say an autonomous AI-enabled universe.
I see. Very complex.
How far can this extend? We've already spoken about autonomous traffic lights, stadiums. How small can you get? Can you talk about autonomous shops, autonomous grocery stores, autonomous running homes? So you're talking about actual, brick and mortar kind of infrastructure that can run autonomously. Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely. As we talk, in fact, there are two pilots going on, and one has a very human touch to it for me as well, where I've seen that elder care globally has become a big problem. People have memory losses, specifically when they're going after multiple medical conditions. And they often run away and they lose them in these old homes. Now, we're working with an old age home in Germany where we're saying, what if, again, we're doing that there, the what if we're doing that, we're making the complete old age home intelligent infrastructure, where if, God forbid, somebody's going into the washroom and falling, the house knows that that's happening. If somebody's leaving their bed at 2 a.m., the house knows that and takes decisions like locking doors or taking better decisions. We are feeding that data into a solution system, which is locking doors, changing dynamics, changing lights when an older person is leaving based on the way they're moving, how likely they are to exit the house. There's one use case, good example of a home and an old age home. And with shops, we're doing it with 2 coffee chains right now, where we are trying to bring down the loss they have in wastages down by 40% by giving the same intelligence to each of the retail stores.
I see. Now, is your intelligent infrastructure mostly people to infrastructure intelligence, or does it even do things such as building management systems, turning air conditioning on and off, ambient lighting, ambient temperature control? So do you play in the energy space as well, or is it mostly just the LiDAR and RGB based sensors?
All right, so I'd like to answer this question. It's actually a great question, Sabir. So a very important point that I want to mention here, if you think about it, right? If you forget the concept of LiDARs, AI, and just remove all of these complicated terms out of it, what are we doing exactly? We are making this building a human. So imagine you hired 40 human beings whose only job was to understand what is happening, how many people are there, switch on AC, change temperature, and do all of this. They are taking decisions and they're solution providers for doing this. But now if the whole infrastructure can see the world and understand the universe around in 3 dimensions, from controlling electricity to cooling to maybe shutting down the building completely when there's nobody or no activity happening there, these are unlimited solutions you can build on top of it. So I believe autonomy as a service. They are nothing but the replacement of traditional human employees, where humans would look at all of this and do these activities. You're replacing that with machines or infrastructure having its own intelligence to take all of these decisions.
What kind of sensors would these machines need to have? Is it just people-based sensors, or do they need to have temperature sensors, gas sensors? How complicated has the sensing technology have to be in order to make autonomous decisions?
So I would say, first of all, there's a lot of debate these days, one sensor versus the second. I'm completely against binary sensors now. Binary sensors have had their journey for the last few decades, but they're done. By binary sensor, I mean anything which gives you 1, 0 output, saying, oh, too much light, no light. One person, no person. You don't need these sensors anymore. They are there. They're going to be there for the next 5, 6 years, but they're going to get irrelevant. Think about, again, repeat, we are replacing humans. We want to replace humans. For that, we need to have 3 things. Sensory. We need to have the RGB, the capability to understand colors. Second, 3-dimension capabilities. We have to understand that humans can understand depth perspective, but on 2D vision, machines cannot. So you need to have something which can create 3D data. And third is all the relevant legacy sensor technology, for example, for gas, for example, you have existing legacy sensors. All of this combined to lead towards true autonomy.
So what kind of physical form does your technology take in terms of the deployability? Like, is it a box? Is it a unit? Is it something that you stick on the wall? Is it something that you put in a room? Help our viewers understand, what is the physical form of the technology that your company has developed?
Sure. If you look at it today, it's nothing bigger than a battery power bank, maybe. And I just want to talk about the evolution as well. If you go back 5 years ago, there was a sensor which was bigger than probably your computer, and a computing box which was almost a small server. In 5 years, the hardware has made leaps, and also the software has, because you have optimized AI to a point, or deep learning models to a point where they need just one simple nano GPU from NVIDIA to process large amounts of data. So the processing requirements have gone down with evolution in software. The hardware has evolved, and now we sit in a place where the whole compute and the sensor is in a form factor smaller than probably a power bank.
So what about retail intelligence? I mean, deploying AI in retail spaces. To what extent can that go to facilitate?
I'm going to talk about a recent failure for that, because it's always good to start with talk about where AI has failed. We have tried and failed. So I always say that we cannot remove human from the loop. We need to act as force multipliers for humans in the loop. Now, Amazon tried autonomous retail spaces in the US. Humans figured out a way to fool them. They were doing pressure sensors. So what did humans do? Started carrying things which weighed similar, picked up a small object, replaced it. And there was more stealing than ever before. So autonomous retail initially failed. But in Japan, on the other hand, you have bars now, which are serving without any human intervention. In fact, around Caltech as well, you have now locations which are completely autonomous. McDonald's has committed to reducing their workforce by more than 40% in the United States already, because 80% of the work is happening autonomously by robotics. So autonomous retail is not very far away, but it has to be done with the human in the loop. What I mean by that is, we cannot make it more complicated for humans, but we need to make it simpler for humans. And that is where, when we talk specifically about the retail sector, where it has been traditionally where it's not just about buying a product, it's also about the human interaction at that counter. It's also about that scratch coupon maybe you're getting at the counter. It's more than just autonomy where we have failed. But retail autonomy is already there. There's a workforce shortage across the world for retail stores, and we are looking at more and more autonomous stores globally.
Another very interesting, but not holistic technology, but small incremental technology that Amazon has introduced in some of the stores, grocery stores of Whole Foods, is today I can go to a Whole Foods, buy everything, and just put my palm on a sensor. It reads my palm, and I don't need to carry any credit cards or phones, NFCs, nothing. Just my palm of my hand, and I can walk out. It computes, it pays for my bill, grocery bill, and I just walk out of the store, which I think is a micro improvement, but it's a phenomenal step in the use of a certain feature, which is palm recognition, and just putting it on a light source to determine who I am as an individual and pay for my grocery bill.
True. And just think about this, Javed. This palm technology, to be able to identify a palm with higher level of precision using AI, has been there for about a decade plus now. That's the power of human imagination, that use cases keep growing. It's always about innovation first, and humans will always find great ways to make a lot more sense and applications of it.
I would like to add to that. Oftentimes it's not the technology that leads, but the use case.
Absolutely.
That causes a technology to be adopted. I'll give you another example. Uniqlo has this, and I was always trying to figure out what technology they were using. So Uniqlo is a clothing store, right? You just go in the US, pick out whatever clothes you want to buy, and put it in your basket, and go to the checkout area, and you just have to drop each of your clothing items in a box, and it magically computes the bill. Now, what they're using is actually very old NFC technology, but they're using it and making people think like it's some super AI, but it was a phenomenal use case, and that has caused their sales to grow by a certain percentage points over stores that don't have this, because of ease of use and for the customers to be able to use this technology and quickly go through the checkout line.
They're doing this here at Decathlon as well. Yes. It's quite phenomenal. But as you move ahead with autonomy, and then you take units of autonomy all over, and then you aggregate, and then you have a huge aggregated autonomy. I mean, I'm just imagining. And one fine day, like it was shown in one of the sci-fi films, there's some autonomous intelligence system that takes over control from the human beings.
Yeah.
Have you ever imagined this to become a reality someday? Is it not dangerous?
I would first of all say anybody who says AI is not dangerous doesn't understand AI well enough. But I think it's also about the way you perceive the world, right? A lot of things go on perspective. First of all, we have made AI this devil. And the reason for that is that devil was supposed to take our jobs away. That's number one. Number two, in the same connected world, there was another movie I would like to mention that a lot of people don't mention when they talk about this AI taking over the universe, which was Avatar, which was a universe in the space. They call it the alien world. And it's in our literature, in Indian culture history, numerous religions, Peru, numerous oral histories have talked about this universe, where the universe was naturally intelligent, right? Avatar was all about that, where the whole world was intelligent, and the whole world, every plant, every part of the universe they were in was human-like intelligent and could help the other take better decisions, heal the other, etc. And that's where I believe, that's how I would like to look at AI. And this perspective is so important because it will change the way we imagine building products. It is changing the way we should imagine innovation. AI is evil because 80% of the people who are working behind it have a task of making a human irrelevant. When I imagine AI, I want to make human life safer and better. And that is the biggest difference in the way someone would want to look at the world.
Wonderful. So, what do you think really is? I mean, you are doing a lot in cron systems. So, what is the unique product or service, or offering that you have, which is different to most of your other offerings?
I would say it is our capability of accuracy and contextual awareness. What I mean by that is we've built a technology which has now the intelligence of a 5-year-old child to understand how the world is changing around it and self-adapt on the edge without any cloud or human intervention and keep performing to give you the highest level of results. And the reason for that is we did not fall into the AI race. In fact, we started up in the AI winter. So we were not doing AI and deep learning because it was cool, like it is today. At that point, it was considered a bad idea because it was brittle, it was cost hungry, etc. We wanted to build something where we went to the ground and we said we're not going to download 10 algorithms and build a solution. We said we're going to work on our physics and mathematics first. And we're going to help machines get human-like intelligence, and we'll forget about commercialization, what we'll do later. So our only goal was to build an effective way where we could replicate our level of intelligence and give it to every infrastructure and machine.
Wonderful. Sabir, anything you may have?
No, I think it's
Just throw it
fascinating.
in
Yes,
now.
certainly, like I said, we are headed into an autonomous world. There's no question about it. Today, if you look at the majority of the world's GDP, it is produced by humans controlling machines. We're not that far off where majority of the world's GDP will be produced by machines. Not by humans controlling machines, but by machines themselves. And that's a fascinating new world we are headed in. Very much being used in the world of fintech, like we discussed this morning. For picking stocks, AI will be much better than any human. For processing a loan, AI will be much better. And for managing physical infrastructure, the time is not that far off that you will not have to turn a switch on and off. You will not have to turn the AC on and off. Sensing technology will sense that you're in the room and turn the temperature to the ambient temperature that you desire. So thank you so much for being
Thank you so
here.
much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much,
Thank you so much.
Tushar, for being here with us. We wish you a very bright future. Shine on. And friends, Should you have any questions for Tushar and Sabir, kindly put them on the BQ Showreel app, which you can download from App Store or Play Store. Please feel free to ask them questions. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.